welcome back to The Verdict. We're coming to you live from Channels TV's headquarters in Lagos. It's the Verdict Studios, and we're bringing you all that has to do with the forthcoming elections tomorrow. It's election eve, and a lot has been happening. Well, let's rehash this. Some of what we've described as some of the states to watch. We did show some states where we're keeping our eye on in just a moment, which will also update you. So you have Akwa Ibom, you have Sokoto, you have Rivers, some of those states, states to watch. Well, you get to see some of those slides. Will come to you much later. But yes, indeed, there you go. Benue, Ogun, Kwara, Sokoto, Kano, Kaduna, Lagos, Imo, and Rivers. But we'll be shedding some light on those states to watch as we progress as well. But now, Port Harcourt, the River State capital, for instance, there's been a lot of talk as to what to expect, how do we go about it. Well, now we've been joined by Mr. Innocent Chukwuma, who is the Regional Director for Ford Foundation. Thank you for coming on again today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yes, indeed, there's also some research about some of these states which we've designated as states to watch. But let's head to Port Harcourt, where the Commissioner of Police was recently speaking about the elections and what to expect.
Police force is deploying 15,544 office personnel to be complemented by numbers deployed by other sister security agencies, making a total of not less than 17,000 personnel to all the polling units and voting points in the 23 local government areas in the state. The deployment is such that we will have at least not less than 3 security personnel in each polling unit. That is our desire. There will also be an outer perimeter deployment of armed men to guard the process, as well as a convoy of patrol vehicles moving from one point to the other in case there are circumstances arising from the conduct of the process. There will be total restriction of movement of persons, vehicles, boats, vessels, or any other mechanically propelled engine, both on land and on the waterways, between the hours of 12 midnight on Friday to 6 p.m. on Saturday, 9th March 2019, except those on essential duty, duly permitted by law, and the eligible voters.
So there you have Usman Bedel, the Commissioner of Police in Rivers State, just highlighting some of the security measures that they're putting in place to ensure that, well, they have peaceful elections, at least. That's on the part of security. Well, interesting. Some usual scenarios here: restriction of movement, deployment of armed men, patrol, convoy patrol, no boat movement, no vehicular movement. Those are some of the things we expected earlier.
Encouraging to note is Belal also mentioning that they will have armed guards protect the process. I think that is very key, because if we get to that point whereby the policeman, for instance, in Okota here, could not do anything. He just couldn't do anything because he's not armed. He was just practically struggling with the ballot boxes to get it off the hands of the thugs there. But I think that will be very key and very instructive, that we have some level of firepower with the police, and they're able to move around, because he also said that there will be patrol vehicles moving around during when the process is on. So I think that's what I can take away from his submissions, such that we have a system that is more security guaranteed than what we had previously.
Well, he mentioned that in all there will be 17,000 security personnel that will be in charge of the whole process. All security personnel from all the different security apparatus of state. He also harped the fact that armed men will be in the perimeter, which is what is expected. and there will be total restriction of movement. I have a few concerns about those two, the last two. What determines armed men? What determines the perimeter? Because we saw in the previous election a situation where armed men were closer to the polling units than normal, and the restriction of movement. Does that mean that any voter that needs to travel by any vehicle of movement?
He said, except you're on essential duty. And then, of course, voters perhaps should have moved earlier before the restriction kicks in.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But we had that issue in the previous elections.
All right. Well, you also head to Treasure Eze, our correspondent in Abia, also taking a look at the elections and what's going on where she is. Treasure.
As the people of Abia State gets ready to go to the polls to elect a governor and members of the State House of Assembly who will govern the affairs of the state for the next 4 years, the question on the lips of most Abians concerning this election, amongst many others, include: would this election be free, fair and credible, and would their votes count? This apprehension perhaps may not be far-fetched, judging from the performances of the electoral umpire in the state during the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections, which was characterized by late arrival of election materials and INEC officials to some wards and polling centers across the state.
I would want INEC to tidy up, at least let the stories from here and there be a teaching for them. Let it give them clue of what to do to make sure that the governorship election goes fine.
I'm aware that the past, some people came after waiting for hours. They go back home without voting because it's like you want to exercise your civic right, but if you come to waste time, so much time to do it, some people get impatient and tired and left.
So I'm promising the good people of Abia that by 8 o'clock, 7:30 to 8 o'clock, all polling booths in Abia State shall remain open. This is a promise. The mistakes of the past shall not haunt our future. The shortcomings shall not. We are appealing to you to please key into these concepts. Help INEC. Don't come to create problems for INEC.
This governorship and state of assembly election is very important and crucial to the people of Abia State. Hence, they want the electoral umpire in the state to live up to expectation.
So there you go, our correspondent Treasure Eze from Abia. Well, gentlemen, I mean, one thing I actually live up to expectation. That is always the big concern that almost everybody wants.
I think, well, will INEC start at 8 o'clock? That's very instructive because a lot of people will be expecting that the mistakes of having just 41% of INEC officials turning out, being ready for the elections as at 10 in the previous elections is a source of concern. We want to see that INEC improves on the time. The INEC commissioners have come out to say, Uzi this morning made submissions that they are fully ready and that they will go. I also took out something from the resident electoral commissioner of Nasarawa State. Yesterday on the news at 10 when I was on it, his own submissions were that they are fully ready and that there was no concerns whatsoever. We would just like to see that the other 29 states, 29 states by tomorrow will also have the same kind of submission, or by the end of today, have the same kind of submission such that INEC is able to break its record, you know, by overwhelmingly, by 95%. I think that would give a lot of people a sense of, a strong sense of comfort moving ahead.
I think it'll be, what would be really wonderful to see tomorrow would be how we break the voter apathy imbroglio, or whatever it is that we want to call it, because how excited would people be tomorrow to come out to vote? That's something.
Okay, so there you go. So we'll come back and take a look at what our guests have got to say in a moment. Stay with us.
We, alongside the police and the DSS, indeed all other security agencies, we have put in measures in place whereby we are going to fish out any such fake soldier. And we are not just going to stop at them, we'll go after the masterminds. So it is very pertinent at this stage for me to say that we have put in measures, just like the police have told us the way they will dress. I think for the army, we are keeping it close to our chest until that morning. We'll inform everybody, and then if there are fake soldiers, we'll be able to fish them out. Lastly, the army will be neutral. We are not supporting anybody. I want to re-emphasize that. We are neutral, we are apolitical. We are just there for security. But we will not just stand by and see a group of people come to harass others, stop them from voting, hoodlums, thugs. We are going to deal with them.